Stuart Smith, you might know the name, he's a Member of Parliament for the National Party, representing the Kaikoura electorate. He's been doing that since 2014. So for over a decade, he's been a voice in our nation's decision-making processes. But his role isn't just about being an MP. He holds significant positions of influence within the current government structure. These aren't minor roles. They are pivotal to the functioning of our Parliament and how New Zealand presents itself on the world stage, shaping the laws we live by and the relationships we cultivate internationally. Mr. Smith is the Chief Government Whip. Think about that. The Whip's job is crucial. It's about party discipline, ensuring MPs vote according to the party line. It's about managing parliamentary business, a gatekeeper role of sorts. This position gives him considerable sway over the legislative agenda and the progression of bills through the House. It's a role that requires astute political management and a deep understanding of parliamentary procedure, placing him at the very heart of government operations and strategic political maneuvers. His influence, therefore, extends beyond his electorate to the very mechanics of our democracy. Beyond the corridors of power in Wellington, Smith also chairs the New Zealand Interparliamentary Union. This role involves fostering relationships with parliaments in other countries. It's about diplomacy, about representing New Zealand's parliamentary system abroad. This places him in a unique position to engage with international counterparts, discussing global issues and potentially opening doors for various forms of international cooperation or dialogue. His activities in this capacity contribute to New Zealand's soft power and its standing within the global community of nations, a responsibility that demands careful navigation. So we have a seasoned MP, a Chief Government Whip, and an international parliamentary representative. These roles combined paint a picture of a significant political operator. His decisions, his actions, and his influences ripple through our political system. It is precisely because of this significant standing, this accumulation of influential roles, that a closer look at other aspects of his public life, particularly his extensive business interests, becomes not just relevant, but absolutely essential for public understanding and democratic accountability in New Zealand. When we look at Stuart Smith's registered pecuniary interests, it's quite a list, it's extensive. We're talking about significant holdings across a startling number of sectors, all declared as being in trust. These aren't just a few shares here and there. The breadth is considerable, spanning critical areas of New Zealand's economy and services. From the power that lights our homes to the medicines that keep us healthy, Smith's financial ties are deeply embedded. The register, as of January 2025, reveals a complex portfolio that warrants careful scrutiny. Let's break it down. In the energy sector, there are shares in major players like Contact Energy, Genesis Energy, and Meridian Energy. Internationally, interests extend to APA Group in the petroleum industry and Berkshire Hathaway, known for energy generation. Then there's healthcare. Think EBOS Group, Fisher & Paykel Healthcare, Ramsay Healthcare, ResMed, and pharmaceutical companies like Telix, CSL, Johnson & Johnson, and Novo Nordisk. ScriptSense, a pharmacy management software company, is also on the list. This is a substantial footprint in a sector that affects every single New Zealander. The financial services sector is also well represented. Holdings include Heartland Group, Macquarie Group, JP Morgan, and payment giants, MasterCard and Visa. In transport and logistics, we see Freightways, Mainfreight, Transurban, and again Berkshire Hathaway for its rail transportation interests. The ever-expanding world of technology and e-commerce isn't missed either, with investments in Spark New Zealand and global behemoths like Alibaba, Amazon, and Microsoft. Even our food and beverage industry with Delegat Group, Wine, and My Food Bag, and global giant Nestlé features in this diverse portfolio. And it doesn't stop there. Property is a big one, with interest in Bristol Properties Limited Partnership, Cashel Property Investment Limited, Nudgee Road Property Trust, Osterley Way Investments Limited, and SpaceCube, a modular building system company. Retail interests include Walmart. Manufacturing interests include Amcor and Fisher and Paykel Healthcare. Other varied interests cover Cleanaway Waste Management, Hector Group, Orchard Software, Dry Hills Services Limited, an irrigation scheme, and Ryman Healthcare, retirement villages. This intricate web of investments held within the Taylor Smith Family Trust raises important questions about oversight and influence. Now, why does this extensive list of financial interests matter? It matters because MPs make decisions, they vote on laws, they shape policies that directly impact these very sectors. If an MP has significant financial stakes in a particular industry, there's a potential, isn't there, for their decision-making to be influenced consciously or unconsciously. Could their duty to the public be clouded by their personal financial well-being or the prosperity of the companies they are invested in? These are not accusations, but fair questions that citizens should ask. Consider the energy sector. With holdings in major New Zealand energy companies and international petroleum interests, how might this affect Mr. Smith's stance on climate change policies, renewable energy targets, or regulations governing the energy market? There's a potential for a bias towards policies that favour existing energy giants or fossil fuel industries, perhaps at the expense of more ambitious environmental goals or consumer protections. Similarly, extensive interests in healthcare and pharmaceuticals could subtly shape views on drug funding, healthcare reforms, medical device regulations, or the oversight of retirement villages, potentially prioritising commercial returns. The recent cross-parliamentary visit to Taiwan in April 2025, co-led by Stuart Smith, provides a tangible example of where political actions and potential external influences can intersect. Smith justified the trip as one to explore trade opportunities. However, China, a crucial trade partner for New Zealand, reacted strongly, viewing it as a violation of the One China policy. This single visit has the potential to strain diplomatic and trade relations. One might ask if any of Smith's diverse business interests, perhaps in technology or e-commerce, might see opportunities in Taiwan that could, even indirectly, inform such a diplomatic initiative that carries significant risk. Furthermore, his involvement in amending the Equal Pay Act 2020 to reflect the original 2017 bill has drawn criticism. Some argue this move could undermine pay equity claims, potentially prioritizing existing economic frameworks or business conditions over the robust pursuit of gender-based pay equity. When an MP with broad business interests is involved in shaping employment law, questions about whose interests are truly being prioritized, those of workers seeking equity or those of businesses managing costs, are inevitable and valid in a functioning democracy. The sheer breadth of Stuart Smith's financial entanglements across so many vital sectors creates a challenging landscape for public perception. Even if every decision made is entirely ethical, the appearance of potential conflict can be just as damaging. This perceived conflict can steadily erode public trust, not just in the individual MP, but in the integrity of the political system itself. When citizens suspect that policies might be tailored to benefit private financial interests rather than the collective public good, faith in democracy itself begins to wane, which is a serious concern for all of us. As Chief Government Whip, Stuart Smith is in a uniquely powerful position to influence the legislative agenda and the flow of policy. This role, combined with his extensive personal investments, presents a heightened risk. Could this influence be used subtly or overtly to steer regulatory changes or policy debates in directions that favor the sectors he's invested in? For example, decisions on infrastructure projects could benefit transport holdings, or regulations on financial services could impact his investments there. The potential for policy bias, or the public perception of it, is significantly amplified by this confluence of roles. This situation underscores a broader issue: the critical need for robust transparency and stringent conflict of interest regulations in New Zealand politics. While declaring interests in trust is a standard mechanism, its effectiveness in genuinely insulating an MP from influence, especially when the interests are so vast and varied, is debatable. The public needs absolute confidence that their elected representatives are working solely for them, without their judgment being swayed by personal financial considerations. This is fundamental to maintaining a healthy and trusted democratic process. Ultimately, managing conflicts of interest, both real and perceived, is paramount. It requires more than just disclosure. It demands a culture of accountability and potentially stronger mechanisms to ensure that an MP's private dealings do not compromise their public duties. The integrity of our policies, the strength of our international relations, and the enduring trust of the New Zealand public depend heavily on our elected officials navigating these complex terrains with utmost care and unwavering commitment to the people they serve. ensuring every decision is made for the right reasons. As we venture further into the labyrinth of Stuart Smith's extensive financial interests, it becomes evident that the ripple effects can touch every corner of New Zealand's economy. From fuel prices to energy costs and even the software we rely on daily, the implications are vast and multifaceted. Consider the fuel industry. With investments in transport and energy sectors, any policy shifts influenced by Smith could potentially sway fuel prices. This doesn't just impact the cost at the pump, but cascades through to the cost of goods and services, affecting every New Zealander's wallet. Then there's the energy market. Smith's financial stakes in this sector raise questions about the impartiality of regulatory decisions. Could policies be crafted to favour certain energy providers, thereby influencing electricity prices for households and businesses alike? The potential for such influence necessitates a closer examination of how these decisions are made and who stands to benefit. Perhaps most intriguingly, Smith's connections might even extend to the tech world. With the impending obsolescence of Windows 10, regulatory decisions could affect whether Microsoft continues to support and sell this operating system in New Zealand. This could have significant repercussions for businesses and consumers who rely on this software for daily operations. These scenarios underscore the importance of vigilance and transparency in public office. When an MP's financial interests are so deeply intertwined with critical sectors, the stakes are incredibly high. The impact on the market and consumers can be profound, highlighting the need for robust oversight and accountability. As we conclude this exploration, it's clear that the influence of personal financial interests on public policy is not just a theoretical concern, but a tangible reality that can affect every aspect of our lives. Ensuring that our elected officials are working solely for the public good, without any undue influence from personal investments, is essential for maintaining trust and integrity in our democratic processes.